throw me in and I'm going in. I ain't running, I'ma come and tell you anyone can get to talk about it cause I really live it. All the nights on the mission, no fear, no hope in my vision. Don't need no intervention, you ain't down the ride, there ain't even no ways to come out, point them out and they all gonna be missing. Wonder why I'm still here, cause I'm feeling on the daily. Act a fool if you met me, you try to be brave and step up, but your crew is too scary. Plus I'm too legendary, it's what we go hard for. I'm rocking your block, you want to you get knocked off. I'm taking your place, yeah, I'm making my property. Maybe a game that you probably did over your life for me. So it's only right for me. Annihilate them if they get my way of sight. And keep them up off of me. A weakness in you only make an appetite. Anytime I get into it, I be looking at them, looking pitiful and the condition that be critical. Nothing less than original. Plus who wants us to end of you? Who's next?
Finish him.
Why would you?
But why would I start? Because, you know, we're
No. Brandon, why would you put that in the main chat?
Well, they're gonna see it anyway. I take left me, everybody else.
You guys are complete assholes. Alright, so
I know.
So let's start this episodic discussion podcast of Mortal Kombat. We're all great fans here, and we have some very eccentric guests when it comes to the MK stuff. So first we have Mr. Brian Word. Introduce yourself, good sir.
What it is, what it ain't. This is Brian Word, aka Milk Dud Artist, aka Mr. Barry White. About to drop some MK knowledge wherever I can, so be ready.
AK Cisco.
Shut up.
Or DMX. DMX for short. But next we have Mr. Arcane Magic. Introduce yourself, good sir.
Hello, everybody. This is Douchebag Ken, and I like making fun of Brian.
Emphasis on douchebag.
Emphasis on hood red.
Well, last but not least, we have Mr. Devil Hunter James. Introduce yourself, good sir.
How's it going, Figits? I'm just gonna watch Brandon and Brian rip each other apart.
Oh yeah, well,
Man, you're Italian Catholic.
whoever loses gets thrown to the wolves.
Nah, they get uppercutted off a cliff.
Yeah. So we have the first question in the document. I'd like to start off by saying, what is your first experience with the Mortal Kombat video games, and what else made you get into the series? So, who wants to take this first?
I shall.
Go ahead.
I've played one iteration or other of pretty much, well, almost every Mortal Kombat game to date. And what made me get into the series later on was, it was like I started seeing what they were trying to do with Deception, Deadly Alliance, and Armageddon. It was like, seemed like a good idea, but then it got boring. And then when I saw MK9, it was like, oh, okay, going back to the roots. And I saw what it was capable of. I was like, I'll get this, even if I get bodied. So basically, just that it's a fun game you can play, no matter how gratuitous. And you know, while it can ruin friendships, it can still be fun. And that's my spiel.
All right, Mr. Brandon, you want to go next?
Sure. Man, I go way back. I was like a child when I started playing Mortal Kombat. Right around the same time I started playing Devil May Cry. A friend of mine introduced to me and several other kids to the series. I was looking at characters he was showing off. The one that stuck out to me was Baraka because of blazing arm and whatnot. You know,
not to mention those teeth.
Yeah.
Every little kid loves Baraka. He's a fucking monster.
Not only that, though, one of my mom's friends bought over MK Deception, which is my first Mortal Kombat game I ever played, and probably still my favorite. When he brought that over, I was getting destroyed by Onaga with Baraka. So my friend came up and helped me out, and he chose Scorpion. And since then, I became a Scorpion fan.
Okay, so you're like Ed Boon 2.0.
Yep.
Alright, so my experience with MK, I played it on Sega Genesis. My first time I was introduced because one of my family members owned the console. So that was my first ever experience with MK, and I really, really enjoyed it. I like the fact that it was hyper violent because stuff that they had in fighting games back then, you didn't see like They had blood and they had gore. And back at the time, this was when Mortal Kombat first came on the scene, and we had Street Fighter back then as well. So it was this interesting dynamic going between both games, where Street Fighter was more cartoony in a sense, and Mortal Kombat was like bloody, holy shit, realistic. The way the graphics were back then were very photorealistic. And then I started going to the arcades and playing stuff like Mortal Kombat 2 and Mortal Kombat 3. And I caught on from there. It was a good scene. It was a good vibe to go back and experience those games. So, out of the arcade scene, that's when I picked up my first own Mortal Kombat title, which was Mortal Kombat 4. I enjoyed it for what it was, but looking back at it now, it's not the greatest. So then I got onto the series more and more often as it progressed. I think for MK9, that was the apex for me, and I really, really liked it. So it just caught on real quick. You just have a love and passion for the characters, and the secrets that they have is full of secrets, just busting with them. So it's a really good like franchise to hold on to and cherish. So what about you, James?
I didn't get well versed into MK until MKX came out, and I tried to play that, and then I saw Kenshi. I was like, "Yo, this game is amazing now." Let me think. I did go back and tried some of the past games, and they're all right. It's not really my thing, but I really like the lore for MK, so that's mostly what drew me. That, and of course, the violence.
Yeah, the violence is, what a lot of people are interested in. It's not every day that you get to basically take out someone's rib cage and shove it down their throat. So yeah. But moving on to question number 2, who is your favorite male and female character of the Mortal Kombat universe? So who wants to take this first?
I guess I'll go first.
Go ahead.
For male, it's Scorpion, followed by Baraka, but that's not the point. But for female, I actually don't know, honestly. I guess it could be Jade. I like all the female characters. Not as equal, but I guess I have a soft spot for Jade.
Jade is the green ninja, right?
Yeah.
The black lady dressed in green, yes.
Oh, okay.
Dark chocolate.
What about you, Brian?
Favorite male character, Liu Kang. Favorite female character, somewhere between Katana and Jade.
Awesome.
I think for me personally, favorite male character would be Smoke, and favorite female would be I'll have to go with Sonya Blade on this one. I really like Sonya. So what about you, James? Yeah, boobs.
You already know male's gonna be Kenshi.
Female?
Although I do have a pretty soft spot for Smoke too. Female is a good question. I want to say probably, either Sonya or Katana.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I think Katana's. To me personally, I like her out of all the female ninjas. Melina's my second fave out of all of them, but for some reason, I hold Sonya up on a pedestal, so I gotta go with Sonya. But for question number 3, what is your most favorite fatality, and what is the most gruesome fatality you ever saw in the series? The latter doesn't have to be your favorite. So who wants to take this one first?
Oh, I got this.
Favorite? Okay.
Wait, favorite?
Favorite and most gruesome.
Alright, I'm gonna start with the most gruesome. Is definitely, which one is it? Ermax, one of his fatalities at MKX, and Brian knows which one I'm talking about.
I do.
That one is the only one that legitimately grosses me out. Every other one, I just whatever.
You mean the one where he levitates him and he pulls his guts out with telekinesis?
Yeah, that shit's legitimately gross.
Oh, man.
That's the one time I cringe at a fatality.
Wow.
Favorite would have to be the fucking selfie that Cassie does, where she breaks your jaw and she takes the selfie, and you get to see the developers on a mock-up Twitter or Facebook or whatever it is.
And the characters have their own comments, like Melina says, "tasty."
Yep.
No, not to follow with James though. That's my favorite too, the selfie. Especially we do the Jason, the mask is broken.
It's so goofy.
Yep.
I
As
can't
for
really.
gruesome, I would say the puppet things Kenshi does. That literally made me cringe, especially when Melina does it. But when she screams, man, you know it's bad. Have you ever seen the fatality on Melina? God, man, she has some vocal cords.
Nah, I haven't. But
That
Brian,
fatality is just easy to do too.
yeah, Brian, you were saying something?
Oh, as far like I'd say a favorite fatality was Rain in MK9, where like he sprays the water, it makes a bubble around your head, forces the water in, and you explode. As for most gruesome, hard to really say for me.
Really? Can't think of most gruesome fatality?
Actually, you know what? There is one that to me is pretty gruesome, only because it's so quick compared to anything else. When there's a fatality that Devora does, where she did to Baraka mid story.
You're talking about where she like pierces through the head and the brain comes out, and she pierces the other side of the chest and the heart comes
And, like,
out.
Yeah, like the thing that makes that so gruesome is the fact that not only is it quick, but it shows you just how demented Devora really is.
Yeah, that one is. I thought it was funny when it happened to Baraka. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is the first time you could fatality someone in story mode, to my knowledge. So yeah.
It
well,
is.
Actually, no,
I'm
I
talking
take
about
that
like
back.
button prompts, not like MK mythology sort of thing.
I take that back, by the way.
What?
Most gruesome fatality is Sonya kicking Quan Chi in the crotch over and over. That shit was something.
All right, so
I mean, it's not really fatality, but you know what I mean.
yeah, I know that was a part that people remember in MKX, but to get back on topic, for me personally, I think favorite fatality is the one that Rain does in Mortal Kombat 9, where he like makes an ice sword or a water sword or whatever the hell it is. And
Water
he-
blade jutsu.
Yeah, water blade jutsu. He takes this mound of water and he makes it into a sword, and then he just sort of slices the guy's head off, and then you can see the guy's tongue still wrangling about. So that's my favorite fatality. Most gruesome, I would have to say probably what's that guy's name? Takeda. The
Yeah.
one where
Sticks the blade down his throat.
yeah, the one where he sticks his whip down the person's throat and then he makes the blades come out and then he pulls something out slowly, and it's really long, but it's really fucking painful how it looks. And then he just reels whatever it is, like either a spinal cord or organ, and then the opponent just falls down dead. I think that was pretty gruesome if you ask me, because of the sound effects. The sound effects were really top notch, and it was kind of funny hearing. Yeah, it was kind of funny hearing the MK guys talk about how they made the sound effects from just squishing fruits together and making the pitch change to make it more squishy. And it's like, oh, these people, they wake up, this is their day job, man, to hear people get tortured in the most violent way. So, yeah.
Also, real quick,
Mhm.
I do take mine back as well. The fatality Tanya does when she sticks on the her opponent's her heels in the person's back and goes right through them. That's some nasty stuff.
Man, there's one fatality that Tanya does where she, like, jumps through someone. I don't know if that's her second one or not, because I don't have the MKX DLC, so I don't know which fatality that is, but it's funny if you ask me. She just, like, wipes the organs off and, you know.
I can tell you exactly what happens. She grabs them, flips over them while still holding them, gets her feet to their back, pushes, makes a giant hole in them, where she tears out the heart and the intestines and flicks the intestines off while holding the heart.
She's like, I'm still a princess, even with all these guts and brains and mayhem.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Traitor!
Oh, shut up. But moving on to question number 4. What do you think of Mortal Kombat ultimately creating the ESRB, and do you think the responsibility matters for games these days, since parents can expose their kids to this violent content at any given time?
Can I?
Well,
Go ahead, Mr. Brian.
Oh, go ahead, Brian.
This is your question too, by the way. I remember.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now, here's the funny thing I learned about that. Like there was a special on the show where they actually showed the history of Mortal Kombat, and in it was like because of the violence, Congress noticed how kids were playing it, and they just started freaking out. So that's pretty much why you have the ESRB, because they're thinking, "Oh God, this video game is going to make our kids into monsters," and it's like, no, they're just playing it for entertainment. Like it's like you let people watch movies. Like you had Evil Dead and Freddy vs. Jason as a thing, and yet people were worried about fictional violence because apparently it's more interactive, which was always ridiculous. And as far as the parents go, the thing I've learned is that, like with me, my parents, they didn't really have a problem with me playing something like this. They knew what it was about, but the big thing for me is like they seem to think I could handle it to an extent, and I could. But the thing I learned is that even if your parents raise you right, it's not even necessarily going to matter whether or not they raise you right and not expose you to stuff at certain times. Because there was an incident where a mom had a son, and her son and his friend were playing Mortal Kombat 3 at some point, and at some point during this particular incident, as they were playing, her son's friend decided, out of nowhere, he grabbed a knife and shanked the living hell out of her son. Now, after this happened, she tried to make the case that basically her son's friend saw this as a fatality from Mortal Kombat 3. Now, we all know Mortal Kombat. We've all seen Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it's very otherworldly in the sense that you're not gonna grow giant arm blades and slice someone up into bits. I mean, you have to take it back and look and see that there's a big fantasy with how these characters perform things and how they interact with each other, as opposed to reality, because reality is not the same as what happens in a fictional world, because things are different there. There's there's no rules, there's no consequences, and it's not going to apply to reality, because reality obviously has consequences and repercussions for doing that sort of thing, as opposed to fictional violence. So I think that when it comes to that, what people try to pin the blame on is to basically say, my kid was in possession of this, so it's the game developer's fault because of this violent content, when that's clearly not the case. Some people are unfortunately not sane, so they see this stuff and it's sort of, they adapt to it automatically, because if they're thinking about doing something, they just go out and do it anyway, as opposed to saying, oh well, the video game made me do this. I think that human will does not involve anything relating to video games. If a person does something, then that should be taken into account on their own expense, not the video game's fault.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, on a minor note, as far as that case went, they found out that there was no such fatality, because as we all know, fatalities in MKX are over the top and very gruesome. Key emphasis on over the top. So really her claim, they pretty much went through all the fatalities that like she said, it was Cyrax, and they went through all the fatalities, and they found out that this woman was she basically made it up, so the case was dismissed.
Yeah,
and
which is good, because it's over the top. It's not going to apply to real world stuff when you think about it. If people are like that, I will say just sit down, take your time, and examine the game before pointing a finger to make yourself try to look smart or look better.
Exactly. And in the point of reference to what you were saying, something that came up back when I was in high school was that I had female classmates who, they had these books called by this author named Zane, female author. She's black, and a lot of her books were about like what we call black love in the hood and all this thug stuff and gangster stuff and whatever. And the thing of it is, when those books did include sex, and one of the essential principles was like, hey, don't be reading this in class, this is appropriate for you to have in school. And it was like, here's the thing, she didn't say the girls couldn't read them, but it was a thing about the fact that they're not appropriate for school.
I do think that to take it back, I do think that there can be a filter if the parents implement this right. But the basic answer, the basic reality is going to relate to, if you don't want to expose your kids to violent content and you are unsure of how they will handle it. I mean, eventually they're going to find out because people grow up, they get their hands on these things. The internet is vast, but I do think that there can be some monitoring in the process, but some parents don't do it because, they try to create these simple getaways that appease them, like, oh, I'm gonna have a honeymoon, you can do whatever, you can go wild and crazy without some sort of responsibility. And that's the issue that we have here, is there's no responsibility, so the kids get their hand on it and then they can, do it whatever they want, or feel they can do whatever they want, and that's a problem. But James, I would like to hear your opinion on this, buddy.
On the ESRB stuff?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
As you guys have said, it's bullshit. I find it utter bullshit that the parents are so stuck up and they can't accept the fact that they just aren't good at being parents. It's an annoying subject for me because that kind of shit gets under my skin a lot when people refuse to take responsibility for their own screw-ups.
Yeah, like I put it like
technology
this.
to babysit.
I don't like people giving cop-out answers, I guess.
Yeah, like to say that, oh well, because it exists, we can't monitor it is absolutely wrong. I mean, to say that it exists and you don't read it, that's a problem because the ESRB is pretty cut and dry with what each game contains. If a game has violence, it's gonna have violence. If a game has gore, strong language, it's all on the back of the box. So I just think
that's another thing too.
Yeah,
if you're too stupid to fucking read the box, then that's your problem.
Yeah, and I just think that people just don't care, don't pay enough attention to do it. Now, people were raised in different ways. I'm not going to dispute that because I was raised to the point of simply growing up on horror movies. My parents didn't care because basically I could handle it. If there was something graphic on screen, they would just let me watch it because they know I was responsible enough to handle it. I think if you know that, and if you get that indication early, then personally, if I had kids, I would let them watch violent content because I know they are adult enough to distinguish fantasy and reality.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
That's what I think on that. And Mr. Brendan, you want to close out before we move on to question number 6?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
Now, basically the same thing you guys said, though. It's very ridiculous how people are blaming video games. They wanted a rating system, they got it. Now they won't use the rating system for their kids. Like buying like I remember this video years ago when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out. This kid was so happy that he got the game though, and people are like, "You're giving your kid Grand Theft Auto 5." Now, granted, like you guys said, though, kids are raised differently. But he was like 5 years old getting this game.
That's
By the time
way
I played
too
Grand Theft
young.
Auto, I was like, I don't know, 12, 13 when I got my own hands on Grand Theft Auto. When I played it, I was younger than that, but I didn't own the game.
Yeah.
So
Like,
I think it's ridiculous how people using technology to babysit the kids and not actually doing their thing themselves.
yeah.
Can I, like, as a tie-in to the Grand Theft Auto thing, I remember the first time I saw Grand Theft Auto in a store. It was I had to be about like 7 or 8, and my cousin. It was me, my cousin James, oddly enough, and my dad and my sister. And my cousin James, he saw what I was looking at. He looked my sister in the eye and said, "Whatever happens, don't let BJ play this game." And I was like, "What's so bad about this game?" It was like I later found out, it was like there's a thing with like hookers and prostitutes, and it was like, I see where he was coming from, because, at 8 years old, I don't even know about that.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that older kids or teenagers have more responsibility than the adults. It's really sad to see, but like I said, people are raised differently, but I think you can have some sort of control. Do your research, do your information before you buy this kid this game, and then maybe all this stuff wouldn't happen where you wouldn't be pointing fingers because you got your kids all this violent content and they turn out to be insane. So I think that you can definitely have some sort of filter in play, or you can just Wait till your kid grows up and be a teenager, and then you can expose them to all this stuff. You know, there's many possibilities to how you raise your kids. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
So moving on to question number 6. What do you think?
Wait. Number five.
Number 5? Oh, okay. I skipped ahead there. My bad. But number 5. Yeah, I did. My bad. But given the direction the original Mortal Kombat series underwent before Midway crumbled, do you think Ed Boon would have went in a different direction if they didn't strike a deal with WB? For example, continuing the original timeline instead of rebooting it.
Personally, no. I think they went straight for the reboot because I don't know. I think they wanted a fresh start considering that Midway went under and they went. It was like a failure after failure with Midway, right?
Well,
so
yeah.
I think they were stuck with the reboot. Instead of just going on with MK9, a literal MK9. But I don't know.
Cause I don't know. I think a lot of people are sort of mixed on the PS2 trilogy. I think that Deception was the apex of that series. Like, a lot of people liked Deception, and then when they got to Armageddon, people felt like it ended on a bad note.
Here's the thing. Here's what I have to say about it. When Deadly Alliance came out, it was actually a very good concept, and it was one that at the time it worked, because like even with the over the top craziness of Mortal Kombat, they tried to add some realism to it with the fighting styles, and I can appreciate that. By Deception, you know, they still kept it in there, even if you could do some over the top stuff. It wasn't as combo heavy, but it was very well liked, and plus they did other stuff to keep the game interesting, like they did with 9 and what was it, 9 and pretty much with 9. By Armageddon, it turned into a weird thing, because like with Armageddon, it was like they tried to add the aerial combat, and while I can sort of give them the aerial combat to harken back to the old days where it was like MK3 and 4, the aerial combat seemed kind of, looking back on it now, it's like you can enjoy it, but it seems silly for Mortal Kombat. Because it's
Brian,
like,
real quick,
yeah.
Deception had air combat too.
No, it didn't.
You sure? I'm pretty sure it did.
It didn't. Like here's the thing with Deception. Like, you could juggle somebody, but with Deception and Deadly Alliance, you could juggle somebody, right? Now, let me pretty much frame this up for Armageddon. So Armageddon, they're like, say I'm playing as Liu Kang, and I do the move where it's like instead of the regular uppercut, it's more like a pop-up attack, right? Pop them up into the air. I jump forward. When I jump forward and meet them in the air, I could literally combo them in midair. I'm not talking about like MK9 or MKS where it's like you jump and hit them with a punch and then you continue your combo from the ground. I'm talking you literally hover in midair and do a combo.
Well, I had to personally test that theory, so I'm not sure. But to get back on point, is there anything that anyone wanted to say about them possibly continuing the original timeline if Midway didn't go under? What about you, James?
Would they continue the original? Nah, I think they still might have rebooted it.
Really? How do you figure?
I feel like they didn't have anywhere else to go in the series.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, after Armageddon, which is basically
everyone's
dead. What else could you do at that point?
I hated the ending. God, I hated that. I'll get to that later, but let's move on.
Let's move on to question number 6, which is what do you think about the final outcome for Mortal Kombat Armageddon?
It's later, guys.
MK9, right?
Well, yeah, how it leads into MK9 and how it ended with bullshit. So I guess you can kind of say that. Yeah,
like you said, it's bullshit.
Yeah,
like,
I blame Raiden.
I blame Raiden.
Okay, speaking as somebody who went to school for creative writing, excuse me, when I first saw the beginning of MK9 story mode, I thought it was weird because Taven's ending in Conquest and Armageddon is technically considered the canon one because
Exactly.
yeah, because the way it was set up to happen is that if either him or Dagon were to kill Blaze, they would become a god, but well, they become full god because of the power. But what was supposed to happen was one of two things: either the combatants die, or their powers were stripped away. Neither one of those happened, and Taven said he had to figure out how to combat this. And if you look at the Armageddon intro, Shao Kahn gets taken away by Onaga. So how he makes it back just in time to kill Raiden, I have no earthly idea.
Dude, he was
Thank
getting
you.
He was getting
Thank you.
he was getting munched on by Unaga, and it's like he flew him away, and then that apparently didn't even affect
So
him.
he
He's like
survived the drop.
he had full power, he survived, and where the hell was Taven? They didn't explain, they didn't say where he was. I thought he was supposed to, either stop it entirely or do something with it, but they don't mention him ever in that sequence.
Now,
Like the only
okay, from what I read up, wait, hold on. From what I read up, Taven, Dagon, Blaze, and Shao Kahn are the only survivors. Because I think Shinnok as well, because they're gods, they're immortal.
and to some extent, yeah.
Yeah, right, they survived.
Yeah, so
But see,
it makes no sense.
see, Shinnok and Raiden surviving, that makes sense. Because there's even a thing where it was like in Shinnok's ending, it's like he sent a clone ahead to try and win everything for him, and then it goes into the non-canon territory where the Shinnok clone gets the power of God, even though he's the clone of an elder god. But aside from that, here's the only, and I mean the only reasonable plot line I could think of to fill up this hole. Essentially the way it works is that, as far as Taven's concerned, maybe, just maybe, he had reached the pyramid, but he was too late because everybody else was dead, and that's when Shao Kahn kills Raiden, and the power that was in Blaze before he was killed basically does what it does to him, and then that's where Raiden dies. Because one of the things that comes up in a number of people's endings is the fact that they can see into the future. Like Kai's ending in Armageddon, it said that he saw the beginning of time, he saw everything progressed, and he saw what happened after the pyramid battle, and it was like he saw nothing. So in essence, in the original timeline, everything was supposed to die one way or the other.
Well, that could be plausible, but at the same time, even if we were to go with the prospect of Taven being late, they didn't explain it. That's the main problem I have with that. They didn't explain it or show it, which would have been better if they did that, because it would have gave a lot more context to what really happened after MK Armageddon into MK9.
Mm-hmm.
So, what does everyone else think about that? James, do you have an opinion?
On this one, not really.
Alrighty then. So I guess we can move on to number 7, because that was an interesting little tidbit there. So, number 7, what is your favorite species and clan of the series? I'll go first. My favorite clan is the Lin Kuei. Favorite species, anything that's not human, I guess. I really don't.
Tarkon.
Well, Tarkons are alright. I think that maybe what reptile species is pretty cool.
A bipedal walking, talking dinosaur.
Well, yeah. This is,
I just call him a scrub because that's what MK always makes him out to be.
unfortunately, yeah. As much as I like reptiles' design and aesthetic, they always turn him into a jobber, which I don't get.
He's always a joke.
Yeah, him and Baraka are always jokes.
Well, here's
really. It wasn't until MK9 or MK8 technically he was a joke.
Because here's the funny thing about that. Something to think about is the fact that in MK1, when it came to trying to find Reptile, finding him finding him in like the ladder, that was already tough enough as it was, because you had to do it at the precise moment, and then when you're fighting so that you can fight him was already tough enough. Because it was the whole what was it? No low punch or whatever, and no jumping, and you have to score double perfect. That was hard. Not to mention Reptile was the first secret character, and then when you did fight him, you're basically fighting a combination of Sub-Zero and Scorpion at the time, because they didn't have enough data.
Oh yeah,
And,
so he did the freeze ball and the spear at the same time, which was fucking annoying.
And that's pretty much why in the first game he was no joke. Second game they gave him his own moveset and they made him unique, and it was like, oh man, this dude's no joke. Now 3, by that point, it's like you didn't even care, because it was so many ninja clones running around. It was kind of weird.
Oh, that is one thing I didn't like. That they had so many ninja clones. At least make the ninjas look different.
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing.
They couldn't at the time though.
Yeah.
Yeah, limitations.
Limitations, but they could. I don't know. I think they could have came up with different sprite work.
They probably could have,
Like
but
for Shotos.
I do like the fact that around MK3, they started to unmask the ninjas, which was pretty cool to see unmask Sub-Zero. It made him look different.
that was actually the one time it was unique, because it's like you couldn't keep him as you couldn't keep giving him the same outfit as Scorpion forever. Because and then even when they did the thing where they were masked, it's like they still made them different given who they were, well, who and how they were.
Also, James, do you have an opinion on question number 7 before we move to Brendan?
Which one was number 7 again?
Favorite species and clan?
Yeah, Shirai Ryu, because Scorpion's hype, and Takedo. Favorite species? Well, whatever Reptile's race, it sucks. Devore is fucking freaky, so I guess, I'll pick the fucking Tarkatans, why not? Even though they're kind of like the grunts.
What about you, Brendan?
Yeah, very much. Well, that's not human, right, Renegade?
Yeah, not human
First
or...
species.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be a god, and Shirai Ryu.
Alright.
Hey man, gods are their own species, so...
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
some guys get bodied in that series, and it's like, what the hell? Well, I guess Raiden's a scrub, so
Well,
yeah.
No, he's just stupid.
The word god, it has no meaning in MK. It really doesn't have no meaning in MK, so there's no point in calling people god.
You know,
Unless you're the Elder God.
what is the
Has no
name?
meaning either.
Well, what is the name of the type of people who are undead, like Scorpion and Noob?
Oh, you mean Wraith? You mean the Wraith?
Wraths.
No, Wraith.
Wraiths or Revenants?
Yeah, they're Wraith.
Well, now they
because
call them
Scorpion-
Revenants.
Scorpion's like a ghost, technically.
Well, actually, okay. You know what? For Scorpion and everybody who died in MK9, well.
Oh, you mean Revenants?
Yeah, Revenants.
Well, let me correct myself for a second. For everybody that died, with the exception of the original Sub-Zero, they were Revenants. Noob Saibot, he got turned into something that was somewhat different, because it was like he was still a Revenant, but he had completely different powers from his brother when you think about it.
He's
did.
probably a Shadow Revenant.
I don't know exactly, but it was like
Wait, no,
It's like-
wait, what's the Scorpion, a Spectre or something? Like,
what they called
No, he's a Wraith.
well, they originally called him a Spectre, but this is before you found out just how he became the way he was, which was funny to me, because it's like Scorpion is literally the only undead character to show a will of his own by certain points.
Well,
But it's like,
can't you kind of say that for Noob as well, or he's like basically under the influence of someone else, like Shao Kahn or something?
Actually, that is a good question. What the hell is Noob Saibot?
see that's my point, because it was like when you find out just what Scorpion was, it was like it was Scorpion, but it's like looking at him in MKX now, it's like you could tell there's some of Quan Chi's influence, but it was like in the games before, it actually got to a point where he wasn't just all about the kill and revenge. It was like he actually spares younger Sub-Zero when he was about to be killed, and then he was a de facto
Because he found
guardian
out
for a
about the
bit.
truth.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then it's like when he found out about the truth in the original timeline, he brought Quan Chi back to hell and beat the mess out of him until
Well,
Quan Chi escaped.
So I think that Noob is a Wraith, most definitely. Same with Scorpion, because they classify them in the same class. They were undead, and then they got resurrected. So
Like they're supposed to be, because like Scorpion before he came back in MKX, he was still technically dead. So in a way, he was a Wraith. But given the way they made everything with MKX, it was kind of like, because this is something I asked about is like, since Scorpion, Sub-Zero, and Jax were brought back, does this mean their original bodies are still buried somewhere?
no,
When you think about it?
I think that when it came to bringing them back, that was their original bodies. Because remember in MK9,
MK.
remember
sorry.
in MK9 they were basically Quan Chi servants.
Well, what I'm saying is like when Sindel came in and she killed him, their bodies were originally left in that church.
Well, they could
And Liu
have
Kang's
did some bullshit where it's like, oh, this is off camera or whatever. But remember, when they were revived from Revenants in Mortal Kombat X, they returned to their original state. Jax and all the other people there.
Say that.
Yeah.
and see like
Because
I like
MKX debunks that though, because they turn back into their normal selves. So I'm assuming that when they're in the soul selves as revenants or wraiths, they probably turn back. They probably get a new body instead of just using the old one.
right. That's what I figured, because in the story mode when Jax stabs Johnny, it's like his body is dying, but that little vat of whatever it was that Quan Chi had, it was making a new body, and Johnny's soul would have inhabited that demon clone body instead of his original body. And then there's the other thing where Sub-Zero showed Sector's memory to Scorpion. It was like Quan Chi made Scorpion from Hanzo's soul after he died.
Oh,
like,
okay, I see. But
yeah.
yeah, some of it's
this-
kind of weird, and they need to fill in some blanks. But I do think we need to move on to question number 8.
there's some Evil Dead stuff right here. This is too weird.
And there's some Evil Dead stuff. All right, so I'm gonna switch gears, and I'm going to let Mr. Word read question number 8.
Okay. Considering how Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks was so well received as a co-op adventure, what do you think of the idea of the canceled game Mortal Kombat Fire and Ice, with Scorpion and Sub-Zero as main characters being resurrected?
Hype. Complete hype.
Hi.
I would go nuts if they did something like that.
I'll say this: if they're gonna do it, they have to do it in a new timeline. Due to the simple fact that Scorpion and Sub-Zero, they've officially made peace.
I was about to say that. Yeah, they officially buried the hatchet in Mortal Kombat X. Also, once again, I will say this before someone gets on my case, there will be spoilers. So, if you clicked on this video and you got spoiled, then my apologies. It's in the description. So, yeah. But, yeah, Scorpion and Sub-Zero are officially dude bros now. So, it's interesting it's interesting how they could do something with that. And it would make sense with the new timeline as well. So I'm hoping that's what they're alluding to in the future.
Dude bros with those beards.
Oh yeah, they do have beards.
They're not even neck beards. They're not even neck beards, but they're just smooth beards for no reason. I mean, I know they're Asian, but seriously.
I know they're Asian. The beard bros. James, what do you think about Mortal Kombat Fire and Ice coming back if they did make it? James?
I think it's here.
All right.
Yeah.
He fell asleep. Oh.
He's here.
I ain't asleep. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
What? Man, you always do it.
Nope.
But James, did you hear what I said?
Nope. I was doing the thumbnail.
Oh, I said basically, what do you think about Mortal Kombat Fire and Ice, Sub-Zero, and Scorpion teaming up in a co-op game in the future if they decide to bring it back?
Wasn't that supposed to be Shaolin Monks too?
It was supposed to, but it got canceled.
Oh yeah, I love that. I think Shaolin Monks was fun as fuck. Actually, that's a
Exactly.
game I played before I played any of the fighting games for MK. Was Shaolin Monks. I played it. I went to summer camp, and it was the kind of summer camp where we got to stay at the HQ.
Hmm.
So we got to play video games there, and someone brought over Shaolin Monks, so we played that, and it was really fun.
What about you, Mr. Brandon? What do you think of this?
Oh, let me get my hype cannon.
Hype cannon?
If that has
Yes,
online
sure.
co-op, I would like that.
Oh man, that'd be
Exactly, man.
fucking sweet.
Shaolin Monks needs an HD remaster, like online
Hey,
co-op.
man.
Day one buy.
I'm looking at you, Boone.
Yeah,
But
man, Scorpion's in it.
You eyebrow loving motherfucker.
I think
Oh my god.
personally, I agree with you guys. I think it would be fantastic, considering the fact that there hasn't been many really good co-op games. I mean, you have Dark Souls and stuff like that, which I understand. But in terms of something like mainstream, there hasn't been a lot of opportunities taken with co-op. Mostly, it's just thrown to the wayside, especially local co-op nowadays. So I think that it would be a great opportunity if they decided to bring that back, because I mean personally I would be interested in it. And just imagine how they had Shaolin Monks originally, where you can play like two players in a fighting arena. I think that would be some online potential if they decide to have multiplayer. So you can sort of adapt that style, and you can fight in an arena with friends. Maybe like four players fight to the death, in this co-op style environment. That would be pretty good. We need more good beat 'em ups, because the last Ninja Turtle game that came out recently, it is a disappointment. So
Heartbreaking.
it's heartbreaking, but it is true. It's a disappointment. So. Moving on to question number 9. Considering how Mortal Kombat is rife with special secrets, what is your special and most favorite Mortal Kombat secret?
I'm not sure actually.
I can.
I think maybe the hidden fights for me, because there's just so many ways you can get them, and it's rewarding if you win, because they're like so fucking hard. Like if you were ever in a hidden fight, they would be like way smarter for some godforsaken reason. I remember the ones in Mortal Kombat 9 where you had to do sort of the same things that you had to do in the original. But when you fight them, it's like they're super tough. They're more tough than the AI challenges that they had for you in the Mortal Kombat Arcade Tower. So, it's rewarding when you beat them, but they're hard as balls to beat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know a secret I like. When you unlock Custom 3 Melina and MKX for science.
Isn't that when she's
Right.
like the mummy or whatever, wrapped
Yeah.
up in those bandages?
Yep.
I knew it.
Yep.
Is anybody
Science.
surprised?
No, I am not.
Are you?
No.
What about
Good,
you,
shut up.
James?
I don't really got an opinion on this one.
All right. So, Brian, did you go?
I think one of my favorites was in Shaolin Monks, where it was like you could actually. There's a thing where it's like what was it? You could unlock stuff in co-op, where it's like you open up new levels of the arena and stuff.
Wait, hold on. Is this
And-
favorite things for Shaolin Monks?
No, like
Favorite secrets.
favorite secrets in the Mortal Kombat
Oh no,
series.
I don't know
Yeah.
anything for that one.
And then another thing was that one of my favorite secrets was when I found out that Liu Kang was a hidden character in Deception, because like I remember like seeing the intro in Deadly Alliance where he got killed, and it was like, oh. And then I played Deception with my cousin, and I was like, wait a minute, who is this? And I look, and Liu Kang was like, wait, he's back? It's like, what happened to him? It's like, oh man, my mind is blown. Like, that was literally how I felt at the time.
Zombie Liu Kang.
Talk about Conquest on mode and MK Deception.
Yeah, because it was like, because apparently there's a thing, and I didn't find this out till years later, but there's a thing where at the time that Deception was released, it's like they showed the characters that were going to be in the game, but nobody had any idea that Liu Kang was going to be a hidden character.
Was that the one where he zombie
Yeah,
Liu
'cause
Kang with the chains?
Yeah,
Oh, I was
yeah,
like,
because I actually ran into him in conquest mode.
you run into his spirit form in conquest mode, but when you're shooting Jinko trying to be him, then you become zombie Liu Kang,
Yep, I saw
which
that
I thought was
zombie.
kind of
and
funny.
like, oh crap, it's Liu Kang, man. You're back. I thought I killed you. Oh wait, no, I didn't. Same song.
So, moving on to question number 10. What do you think of the storyline direction from that the alternate timeline is going in with Mortal Kombat 9 and X?
I'll let you guys go first. I'll be right back.
Go ahead, Brian.
Man. Okay, I'll say this. Found out that MK9 was getting a reboot. I was like, okay. I was actually okay with this because, in a sense of a reboot, it was like there was going to be some modifications to the story, or at least there were modifications to the story, which wasn't too bad. But it was like they didn't really change much. They didn't really change all that much. And it was like everything. Now, when I saw the story, everything was going good until most of the good guys died. And I was like,
Oh, are you talking about that crap where Sindel kills everyone?
like the only conceivable reason I see that happening was because she had Shang Tsung's added power to that. That is the only reason I can see where that would actually work. Because it's like it's her soul, even though she's being controlled, but then it's Shang Tsung's soul. Because remember, Sindel didn't do that thing where she would suck somebody's soul out. That was all Shang Tsung. And after Shao Kahn had taken Shang Tsung's soul and absorbed it into Sindel, then she could do it.
I don't.
And I was just like,
I didn't like that part of the plot either. I mean, I'm kind of glad they tried to do something a little bit different and non-conventional because it's always we're battling for Outworld and we have to go against Shao Kahn and all that stuff. But I like the dynamic of people sort of fighting for the good cause, like Liu Kang, but eventually getting tired of Raiden. That's what I really liked out of Mortal Kombat 9 because it was this dynamic where you would think he was really going crazy because of the visions, and it would naturally be like Liu Kang just saying this guy is off his rocker, and then the way it culminated with Liu Kang like dying, that was really a strong ending for Mortal Kombat 9. It was something really different that they tried to do with the fact that Raiden was really starting to be non-trustworthy to people, and people really wasn't getting his influence. Like, you would think this elder god has a magnificent influence on people, and it turns out that he doesn't. So, I know they tried the whole thing with Liu Kang dying before, but I think that it made much more impact as opposed to the intro of Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance where they just snap his neck and they call it a day. I like that it was weight behind. It was weight behind that story compared to that story. So that's my opinion on that.
agreed.
So we're still on the question of number 10, Brandon.
Because I'm gonna ramble on this.
Yeah, what do you think of the storyline direction and the alternate timeline of Mortal Kombat 9 X?
Despite me not liking on how they went to this direction, though, I think it's actually clever on how they did it for MK9 and X. Because for MK9, it's like literally MK1, 2, and 3 in one game with a little bit of Deadly Alliance in there.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my things I like them like they did was the throwbacks though, because I felt a little nostalgic behind it. The fact that they still went with the death of Liu Kang. The fact they did it early though, something.
But it's so different, and I think that the alternate timeline has a lot of weight behind it because, again, all this is happening is because Raiden really effed up. So,
it's funny that you brought it up though, because the reason why Liu Kang became a zombie in the original series instead of staying as a spirit, because Dark Raiden took his body and zombified it with some magic, which brought him back to life.
Yeah.
And with MKX, while instead of him being the good guy, he's the bad guy, right? and Raiden ironically put him in charge of NetherRealm, Dark Raiden. So they still going like it's like they took a trip back to the old material and use it, but like give it a nice sweep.
I
It's
think-
not like a particular company we know that we don't talk about. James knows what I'm referring to. It isn't like how they did it though, when they just completely changed everything. They stuck to the root material by giving a new coat of paint. I think it was cleverly done.
Also, I think another thing that's interesting is how instead of it being like the original timeline did the comic book thing where barely anybody died, or at least if they died, they weren't dead permanently. But then there was also the
Death has
thing
no
where
consequences in Mortal Kombat.
but then the weird thing is that I think to me there was definitely a significant change in the timeline because there were a couple of things that Raiden did that happened where it's like it seemed like the things would have changed anyway, and that's where like Shao Kahn was like he needed to step up his game with Sindel. First, there was a thing where Sub-Zero got cyberized and not Smoke, and then the second thing was when he killed Mataro, when Mataro nearly killed Johnny. It's like those two. It's like those two events when they changed drastically. Because it was like, because if you remember in MK9, Shao Kahn saw that Motaro was dead, and he was like, "What is this?" Like he was basically counting on Motaro.
Yeah,
I
and he
go-
failed. So,
Yeah.
those are significant changes that happened. And I didn't notice the Motaro thing until I actually went back to Mortal Kombat 3 and I discovered that he's the one who killed Johnny. So, yeah, I like that they peppered that in, even if you might not have been like paying attention at that time. It's still something to behold that they changed around and did it in a different way that is meaningful to both games. Like without MK9, there would be no MKX at all. The way you think about it. So,
Yep.
James, what do you think about this? You have an opinion? No? Going once, going twice. Sold to the beautiful lady in red.
James, wake your tail up.
Alright, but we need to move on to question number 11. What do you think of the gameplay of Mortal Kombat 9 going back to its roots and Mortal Kombat X being a more combo-heavy fighter?
Can I go first?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you know what? When I first saw the news on MK going back to his roots, me and my friend were actually really hyped about that. Mostly me, because I was more an MK fanatic than him, and I was better at the games than him. So I'm like, this is interesting. They're going back to the old school. Well, I'll give it a shot. And he pointed out that he brought back King of the Hill for online gameplay. I'm like, yeah,
Bobby.
you know what? This is God dang it, Bobby. They brought back
Sorry.
my old self.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, it was really cool. I still have the game. I still have the MK9 game today. But
As do I.
for MKX for going more combo heavy, I guess it's about time because they innovated the series again.
Yeah, and it's like a more tactical, your reactions have to be mint and on point in order to really take advantage of the combo system. I like the fact that they brought back running. I really like that from Mortal Kombat 3 where you could run and do some combos and pepper that in with your playstyle. So I like that it's more fast and furious as opposed to MK9. But I still enjoy MK9 a lot over MKX because I felt that game had a lot more nostalgia than anything as opposed to MKX. Even though MKX I still think is a great game, there's a lot more references to the older games in Mortal Kombat 9.
Yeah.
So
Not only that, though, thing just came up. MKX actually reminds me of MK Deception in a lot of ways. Choose your fighting style, but instead of it be on the fly, you gotta choose it from the menu, of course. Pretty much how MK9 was. It's a 2D MK versus DC, which I'll get on that later.
Variations was good for MKX. I'll say that much. I like the fact that you can mix it up with certain moves, and you can differ it up. And if you like a certain style over another, and then you have those key moments where it's like, well, this style isn't better than the other style, but it's all about options and choices, and hopefully variations come back in like a big way in the next Mortal Kombat. But I really enjoy the gameplay of MKX, and I have no problem with it becoming a more combo heavy fighter.
And because in this game they really tried to, in MKX they really tried to get people to really learn combos. And speaking of combos, shout outs to Black Prion for the grudge match we're having tomorrow at MomoCon.
Oh man,
Anyway.
you're gonna get air macked.
Probably. Anyway.
All right. So we need to move on to question number 12.
So real quick, sorry, but real quick, there's a possibility that, okay, because like James's icon is lighting up, so maybe he had to step away, or Skype is messing with him. Who knows? Hopefully Skype's just messing with him. Anyway, go on.
Well, I don't know what's going on with that, but we do need to carry on. We have a few more questions left, so it's not going to be too much of an inconvenience. But what are your thoughts on MK versus DC Universe and the notion of Mortal Kombat being toned down? Who wants to take it first?
Who want to go first with this one? Because I would like to go first, if you don't mind, Brian.
You go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm in the minority here, though, but I actually enjoyed the game, though. Yeah, for a lot of reasons, though. For starters, so it does have a lot of hidden things in it that not many people know. Like, reason why I brought up MK9 as a comparison to MK8, MK versus DC, a lot of gameplay elements were borrowed from this game. You know how when you do those EXs, the characters just flash out of nowhere and whatnot?
Mm-hmm.
All that was borrowed from MK versus DC. If you do like very fast button prompts, you could do an EX of that certain move. Like for example, Green Lantern with his hammer, he could smash you up to 3 times. Superman with I-beams, he could do it 3 times, and so forth and so forth with other characters. So that's where that whole combat system even came from. It was from MK versus DC, which I have a lot of respect for. And as far as it being toned down, people may say it's a bitch move, but you gotta think about it. When they're doing a crossover with DC Universe, for starters, the heroes don't kill. 2, I'm pretty sure Warner Brothers don't want to see or want the DC characters to be killed or killed in a very gruesome way. So it's also a morale thing with the characters themselves, the heroes, not the villains. So I can understand where they're coming from. When they took out the gore, blood and gore, well, mostly the gore, in this game, it made it T-rated.
Yeah, my answer to this is relatively simple. I don't like the fact that it's toned down because, MK, you're taking the element of gore out of MK. I can understand why they did it, like you said, Brendan, but it's still sort of taking that element out. But at the same time, I haven't played the game, so I can't severely judge it. But I will say that when it came to how they coordinated this in the future, it was probably to the best of their benefit to split it up like they did. So now you have Mortal Kombat doing their own thing, and now if you want to see the DC heroes fight, you have Injustice for that. So I think that Ed Boon made a wise decision splitting them up because they wouldn't be alienating one or the other by mixing them together again.
Also, Also, from a creative writing standpoint, that is a weird mix of 2 vastly different universes.
It is, yeah.
Me personally,
It worked though, surprisingly.
yeah. I mean, now me personally, I thought the game was interesting, but I quickly got bored with it because it was like it became one of those games where I heard Devil May Cry, but yeah, it became one of those games where it was like you could literally win with just doing the same thing over and over. And it's like I know with the MK games, it's like, yeah, so what else is new? But then it's like there's more diversity. At this point, it's more diversity in combos and stuff like that compared to what you could do in MK versus DC.
Yeah,
What
and
is-
I heard the trouble of them using the Unreal Engine 3, saying that they had to cut out some stuff in the background in order to get it to run at 60 FPS, which is, in my opinion, that's a detriment to development, but of course that's probably all they had back then, so I can't really fault them too much. I will say that what they used for MK9 was a lot more better, so if it was the same engine, then kudos to them for making that run at 60 FPS. And then MKX just comes in and it's really good how it looks. So I hope that they keep advancing stuff and not taking any steps back when it comes to either Mortal Kombat or Injustice.
Agreed.
So we have question number 13. Who is your favorite guest character so far that appeared in Mortal Kombat or any other game entirely?
No, the game entirely.
Yeah, like,
In
oh,
a
okay,
fighting
I
game?
guess, like, for example, you can say Scorpion appearing in Injustice would be an example.
Oh, in my case, Kratos when he gets started in K9. My friend told me that he was get started. I thought he was lying to me straight up. Like, man, you BSing me. Stop lying. I'm not lying. He said, go home and watch the trailer. So I went home, watched the trailer, went to school the next day, and told him, Kratos is in Mortal Kombat X. I'm so hyped.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I think my favorite so far is Jason because, you know, I grew up with watching horror movies, like I said earlier, so seeing Jason in there was a nice surprise. I really like his machete fighting style. I like the fact that you can still kind of tell he's this cumbersome, slow character, but he really packs a bit of a punch. And when you're doing all this stuff to people, when you're x-raying people, when you're throwing them around, it looks like it really hurts. So I'm glad that they captured that essence without making it look too outlandish, even though you can do like about 1 million fatalities to Jason anyway, and you can just like do whatever you want. You know, it's really good that they adapted this style and appeal to him that could only be pulled right out of the movies.
Not to mention he jumps.
Well, he jumps now, but you know, I can forgive him for that a little bit. You know, I
totally
can
get
give
that.
some forgiveness here. But with the moveset itself,
Absolutely.
it looks pretty cool. It looks very authentic, especially when he plays with his like hands and not just a machete, where he's just clotheslining people and all that. I would expect him to do that to someone like a poor cheerleader just gets clotheslined out of nowhere by Jason.
Oh.
So yeah, that's my favorite so far. So Brian, what about you?
Personally, I like Jason, Freddy, and Kratos all in there because at the very least they make sense. And plus, with Kratos being in there, it does beg the questions of like in the Mortal Kombat universe, how would other cultures fit? Because let's look at a run of the mill of people who've been in MK so far: white people, black people, Asian people, and granted, you got a cowboy in MKS, but it's like I'm just waiting for the random Latino dude to show up. But it's like,
Did we already have one?
well, not that I can remember. I mean, like you had a black dude who was a Shaolin, but it's like you never really see any of the other cultures where it's like how they fit in the MK universe. Because Johnny being descended from that Mediterranean war cult, and it's like, so what was the deal with them? Like, what about anybody else?
Well, I'm
Yeah,
glad
you
they
don't see-
are diversifying in terms of character selection because, in my personal opinion, anything beats Shoto's. Even though MK has his own fair share, I think that is the most uncreative way to establish a character. So I'm glad that now they sort of morph their characters to be different, have a certain appeal. They're pulling guest characters in from certain franchises that people might like, that might grow an appeal out of the whole situation. So I think that is good that they are doing that, and hopefully for the future it continues because who wouldn't want to see some crazy random guest character come in and tear stuff up? But I think they had to be a little bit more conservative because people want to see MK characters come back, and if they limit the roster to just those characters that just are guest characters, and the other characters aren't given their fair shake. Yeah, the other characters aren't getting their fair shake that are in Mortal Kombat. So I think people would love to see more of that, as opposed to saying, "Oh well, here's Leatherface. He's in here." What about all the other characters that aren't in that deserve to be in? So that's that mentality going around.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm glad you brought that up too. I'm not sure this is a question or not though. If it is, then I apologize for diverging a little bit. But the fact that they actually have most of guest characters in the as DLC instead of having the characters that want to use, they have the data. Cause they just took us extra time out of the day to work on those characters that weren't on the roster, like Baraka, like Tanya before she was DLC, and anyone else that I'm not mentioning right now.
Sindel.
That's
Stupid.
Sindel.
And Rain.
That's crazy that Tanya is the only one that appeared in the story mode that got the chance to be DLC. But you got and Bo Raicho. But you have Baraka and you have Rain, and you could fight them in the story mode, but you could play as them. Always weird. Always found that weird.
Exactly. No.
But
Those are frauds.
I'll give Ed Boon some credit. Supposedly they are alluding to Kombat Pack 3. So I don't know if they're going to.
Already completed this one.
I don't know. Well, then again, I think it's going to be a long time before another Mortal Kombat. Maybe like 2 or 3 more years. We'll get another MK or another Injustice. Maybe it depends on the route they will take. Personally, I would like to see them do a game that's not necessarily a fighting game. Maybe if they can bring back something like The Suffering or whatever they used to own that Midway had, Area 51, stuff like that, and then probably make MK in tandem. That's what I would like to see, but we are going to have a Midway discussion entirely, so I'm going to express all my thoughts there. And we're going to move on to question number 14. So, which is better between Mortal Kombat and Injustice if we are strictly judging from the NetherRealm releases?
It's funny you say that.
Who wants to go first?
You mind, Brandon? If I
Yeah, go ahead.
okay, because I gotta say this. When I saw Prion in event today and the crew, we were literally talking about how, if you really think about it, it was like, you had MK9, and it made Injustice, which played a lot like MK9 with some distinct differences. But then when you look at MKX, it seems like not just the interactable things, but there's certain things with some of the characters where it's like it seems like they sort of took from Injustice. Like if you look at Ferrator, Ferrator is literally Bane with a midget, and then Kenshi being the telekinetic, because Green Lantern and Injustice had that thing where he just threw you around, and then Kong Jin is Green Arrow.
Oh my god.
No. Actually, you know what? Ermac is Green Lantern in this case because he's the real telekinetic with the green energy and everything.
Ooh. Well,
he's even got a thing where he's like the eye is his symbol, and it's like
yeah.
It's like you could just see him making some Ermac oaths. It's like by Shao Kahn's might, this is our plight.
Also, just to take it back really quickly, because there's a mechanic that was in the Mortal Kombat games that I really don't recall seeing before, and I think it was in Injustice first. But isn't MKX the first one to introduce like stuff like breakers and things like that? Or was it Injustice first? Oh, okay. All right.
No, this is before MK9.
Okay, so because I remember there being breakers, and it's like, all right, I don't remember these here, or I don't remember these being here in such a long time that I kind of forgot.
Right,
I think they've been around since Deadly Alliance, or maybe a little bit before.
It was actually Deception.
Deception.
It's actually okay. There we go.
Okay.
Yeah, because like MK4 had the maximum damage thing, whereas like anything was like you hit 44% is like you gotta stop in MK4. The games before that, no such thing.
Well, I think, in a sense, the way they did it with the whole stuff that they have implementation for MKX from Injustice is that it's more of a presentation style to the fighting. And I only remember that being in Injustice. Like, there's a lot more presentation, flashy stuff going on screen that you can't help but think of Injustice just a little bit. I mean, that is a good thing, but if we're strictly talking about comparing and contrasting and which is better, I personally will say MK is better, and maybe that's a bias because I've been playing Mortal Kombat longer. So it's always going to be a bias to some people, but Injustice wasn't bad. I just really couldn't get that deep into it as I could with Mortal Kombat. And I don't know why. It's like, I enjoyed it. I really did, but I just couldn't get all the way into it like some people were when it was on the eve of its release.
Go ahead. Go next.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's be honest about something with Injustice. Okay, like Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat, you got the thing where it's like most everybody in this game, except for very few characters, are pretty much immortal or nigh immortal. So, you know, it's in a way it's like fair chance, sort of. But when you're talking about Injustice, you're talking about normal people, modified people, and people with crazy powers where you wonder, how are we not dead yet?
Well, I want to give Brandon a chance to go next because he's been waiting for a while. So go ahead, Brandon.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, in my opinion though, if you don't include MKX, Injustice is like literally probably their best fighting game, technically, in my opinion, that came out recently. Well, but not recently, but you get what I'm saying though. If you don't talk about MKX, because basically Injustice took MK9 and just built upon that, and then MKX came in and took Injustice and built upon that. So it's like literally an ecosystem. You go back to the past and just work forward.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of hard to engage though. I'm engaged with which one's better if we talk about MKX or Injustice, but preferably I do like MKX more. But in my opinion though, mechanically, Injustice is better than the previous Mortal Kombat games. That's my opinion.
Yeah, like, from the PS2 legacy of MK on down, I definitely think that Injustice is a lot better than some of those games. A lot better, because, in my opinion, the old PS2 Mortal Kombat games, if you go back to them now, they control slow as molasses. So, you have to, give it some respect. At least, they really tried to flesh it out, make it as good as they possibly could. But yeah, that's what I think of Injustice, is that I agree with Brandon that it's better than a lot of old releases.
Bless you hard.
But
That's why you're freaking up.
Moving on to question number 15. What was the most disappointing character ever created that you would never like to see again on a Mortal Kombat roster? Well, damn, that's obvious. Meat sucked. What the fuck? What was that? It was just like it was just like a naked person, and they had the flesh rotting off of him.
Okay.
Let me check look at that real quick.
Well, for me, and this is where I get into a little bit of thing that's kind of funny. For me, like, most disappointing character really was Siu Hao, because he literally had nothing going on for him. The creator,
Nazi guy.
No, he's more like a Chinese Nazi guy. But yeah, because because literally when you look at his ending, you realize how much the developers hate him, because his ending is literally he becomes a black, not skin black, but a black demon full of nothingness. Like, there's literally nothing special about him. And now as far as Meat, that was actually something of a joke character back in Mortal Kombat 4, because there's this
character in 4.
Yeah, he was more like a hidden skin, really.
But remember though, this guy got a slot on Mortal Kombat Armageddon. That was a thing.
That's because they tried to give him a backstory.
And it
To
didn't
make
work.
him
did it?
legit.
He's actually a Shang Tsung Flesh Pit genetic experiment, which is why he looks like that. Yeah.
I will say characters I don't care for. Jarek is definitely one of them. I don't care for Jarek.
Correct.
I really don't.
Okay.
What away? Some shit. I don't care for that character. Who else? I don't care for.
There's a lot of characters I don't like.
Jarek is really just a Kano clone when you think about it.
He is. He is.
You gotta explain it to me. I don't know nothing about this guy. I don't remember actually.
Back in MK4, Jarek's whole thing was that he was a part of Kano's old Black Dragon clan, and when Shinnok escaped and he went back to trying to take out the Elder Gods, they basically made a deal with Jarek where they can help him or he can help them, and it's like everything will be good. And it was something along those lines, but then it was like in Sonya and Jax's ending, it was like, hey man, help us. And it's like, okay, you helped us, now we gotta arrest you. It was like, forget that, I agreed to help. I didn't say I wanted to be arrested. And then there's like a 2-part ending because his ending has him throwing Sonya off a cliff after he falls and climbs back up, and then that was Sonya's ending. Jax is ending where he shows up after he throws Sonya off a cliff, and then he throws Jarek off a cliff.
Wait, how did Sonya survive that?
Honestly, I think technically it's not canon or something like that. Who knows?
But getting back on track, I think I saw Daru. The guy looks boring.
Darius?
Oh,
No, Daru. Daru or whatever his name is. He looks so boring.
Daru?
Yeah. There's also a guy that's like a Kim Masters clone, Cobra.
Oh God.
Cobra. Oh, I like Cobra.
I don't like how Cobra looks, to be honest.
Yeah, Cobra was basically was a Kim Masters clone, which I didn't mind too much, but he almost suffered the same issue as Steve Howe in that there was really nothing special about him. His whole story is basically he was in a dojo, he basically went too hard on his move and he killed somebody, and then he enjoyed the thrill, and that's basically why Cabal recruited him for the new Black Dragon. And then in his ending, it was like everything that was pretty much how it ended, where it's like they took out Naga, they're going to take out the rest. But then it's like in Kira's ending, she was a better fighter because she could basically mess with his mind and she kills him.
Also, I want to get you guys' opinion on Stryker, because for the longest, Stryker was like the most hated character ever.
Stryker is a boss in MK9. That's all I gotta say.
There's a funny thing to that because Ed Boon pretty much explained why when there was a combat card for him in I think it was Armageddon. Basically, the reason people hated Stryker was more so because of his appearance, which is funny because
wasn't the whole fact that they hated him was because he looked too human or he looked like an average cop?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
he doesn't look like an average cop.
He does.
What okay, around Taser's on Gauntlet?
No. We're talking about like MK3 days.
Yeah, MK3.
Oh.
Yeah, because in MK3, it was basically black pants, tactical boots, a blue shirt with a white stripe, backwards cap. That's literally all Stryker was, and it was like they literally overcorrected him in Armageddon, and then when they did MK9, it's like they got it right.
All right, so question number
Stryker
16.
Beast in MK9.
Yeah, Stryker is definitely a beast, man. But question number 16 should be short and a no-brainer since we already went over this. But given that some characters were in the story for MKX but not playable, do you think that NetherRealm should have made more characters playable like that? And the obvious answer is yes. Yes.
Yep.
Yes, they had Ling Mei as playable. I was mad about that. She's my girl. You remember Ling Mei is, right?
Yeah, Ling Mei was in Deception, or
she was in Deadly Alliance and Deception.
Okay, yeah, I remember.
Deception and Armageddon. She got body in Armageddon.
Yeah.
Man, everybody got body.
But we're moving on to.
I mean, she was killed, first one to die.
Damn. But we're moving on to number 17. If you can give Mortal Kombat one addition or mode to add more to the gameplay from another fighting game that has this gameplay addition, what would it be?
Tag mode, like back in MK9.
Well, yeah, they need tag mode back, most definitely. Let me see.
Yeah, but Tekken Tag is a thing, so
Yeah, MK9 had tag though.
yeah. I don't know. Like, if anything, I try and think of something new. Like, I mean, what was it? Screw it, I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of hard actually. Because what mode hasn't been used before in other fighting games?
I don't know. I was thinking some Killer Instinct stuff with like counter breakers, stuff like that, where you can sort of counter it, and where you don't have to just get hit with that initial setup if you press the right button, and maybe you could evade it. But
Speaking as a sorry to interrupt, but speaking as a person who has the new Killer Instinct and who has actually tried that method, I can tell you right now, in MK, that would be a horrible idea.
I agree, actually.
Because here's why. In Killer Instinct, say you get the initial setup, right as they're about to combo break you, counter breaker, and then you keep on going.
well, it was
And
just
it's
a thought because shit. I mean, if you get hit with that initial breaker and then you have to sort of retread and get your combo back up and running. That can make some players a little bit disoriented, the fact that happens. But again, you do waste meter if you do that, so I can see what you guys are saying with that.
Yeah, is that, and there's also the fact that, like, at least in MK, you get the thing where it's like, if you were to do a counter breaker, it'd be like it could push both players away, because in Killer Instinct, you do that counter breaker enough, you could literally kill somebody in one long combo and drain their whole health bar.
Jesus Christ.
I've actually attempted this several times.
Well, I only played KI like twice, so of course it's been like a month later, so I don't remember much of it, but that's just a thought I'm throwing out there. I guess we can move on to question number 17. Oh wait, we already did that one. I need to mark this. Fuck off. I need to mark this stuff off. I never do it. I don't know why, but I never do it. But this is question number 18. What characters would you like to see return from the old canon?
Wait, characters scenes from the old canon?
I guess characters that aren't in MKX would count.
Yeah, that's my question actually.
There's that. And who else?
Well, for starters, I want to see Lee May return. She was pretty cool. Taven and Dagon should return.
Yeah, I would like to see
They
Taven
were
again.
cameos.
I'd like to see Taven.
Yeah.
What about you, Brian?
And the Prime is, real quick, the Prime character I want to see return is Onaga. He's a beast.
They'll have to bring back Onaga some kind of way. But who is it? It's like I'm trying to think, but I would like to see Kai return.
Kai? Isn't that that guy
Kai.
that looks like, a black caveman?
He's the Black Shaolin, yes.
The Black Shaolin?
Was it Kai? Yeah, to hell with Raiko, to be honest.
I used to like Reiko, but not anymore.
Yeah,
Rico.
Yeah, the guy that's basically like Shao Kahn's underling. He wants to be Shao Kahn.
Yeah.
his whole
You know
ending.
what's funny?
His whole ending in MK4 is he sits in Shao Kahn's throne and puts on the helmet.
Yeah. I used to like his
you know
look,
what's
but not
funny?
anymore. What?
Real quick, you know what's funny? He banged Melina.
Really?
And
I'm not kidding. Yeah.
Melina,
In MKX Comics, Melina did it.
and she probably banged Baraka too.
Oh no, I remember that reference.
Oh yeah.
But okay, these are also two other characters I'd like to see return: the male and female chameleons. Because those
why
characters.
is it up?
See, that's the thing. They are literally in hiding.
Also,
Like that is yeah.
before we move on, I just like to say, Melina, you got caged.
Yeah.
All right, so question number
Hey, what happened
19.
to Shiva?
Shiva, I don't know.
She's alive.
She's alive, but yeah.
She's alive and she's living peacefully with the rest of her people somewhere.
But moving on to
Okay.
question number 19. Do you think things like conquest mode, chess combat, puzzle combat, and other mini games should make a return? The answer is yes for me. That's the obvious yes.
Yes.
I miss
Chess combat was
Conquest.
also in Deception.
I miss
Conquest is pretty much story mode in this case.
It
So
is,
like-
but it's,
Yeah.
I kind of miss the style where you can just travel places
I
and
like the interaction.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're moving to question number 20. What is your favorite stage/stage fatality? Go first, Brian.
Favorite stage fatality. Favorite stage fatality is a classic. It's the pit,
Of course it is.
because it's literally one of the funniest fatalities.
Yeah, when you just uppercut him and then they get like poked in the brain and poked in the stomach.
But then it's like in the classic games it's even funnier because it's literally just punch them in the air, they miss the bridge and they just fall. And it's like you just see the developers there for no reason.
Oh
Wait, what?
yeah, the developer heads were actually included in the like model set of the pit in the old game, so you get to see Dan Ford and all those other people all strewn
I
out.
guess nobody liked them.
Yeah. But I guess I can go next. My favorite one, well, my favorite stage is the Pit 2. And my favorite stage fatality is the acid bath, where you uppercut someone and they get melted. It's straight to the point. They're dead. They ain't coming back. No way. No way.
I'm melting.
Oh.
So what about you, Brendan?
Actually, I think I have two favorite stage fatalities. Well, one, which is technically three, is from the God of War stage in MK9, where you choose how you want the person to die, quite literally.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember that one. You press the button and they get all
And-
sliced up.
And the other one is slice up, burn up, crush, name it.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one is the trees, the living forest.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
If you throw
God.
somebody up there, they get munched. Yeah, the first time I saw that fatality, Jade was getting her booty munched, literally.
Damn it, man.
I guess an honorable mention must be the car stage, where you throw them in front of a taxi and their fucking head comes off and they get X-rayed. It's like
Oh, yeah, I remember that
overkill.
one.
Yeah, it's overkill, dude.
Well, like banned.
Do you have any honorable mentions, Brian?
Off the top of my head, can't say.
Oh, well,
Wait,
go ahead.
hang on.
Give this
Why
man a
is-
minute to think.
Why they suck for this? No, because I tried looking up stage fatalities, like they didn't even have them. Well, I guess there is one, although it doesn't technically count as a fatality, because there's a thing where if you lose in Mortal Kombat 4, it's like your character gets thrown into this deep well until they hit the bottom and it's just spikes. It's like you already threw them in the well. It's like that's just insult to injury. Like it's like I said, it's technically not a fatality, but considering that if you do lose and you let that timer run out, that's pretty much it.
Oh, fair enough. I guess anything is better than nothing. So I guess we can go off for the final question, which is question 21. To close off, what are you looking forward to when it comes to the next Mortal Kombat game? Who wants to take this one first?
Whatever Shaolin Monks 2 that they can come up, whatever Shaolin Monk style of game they can come up with, and MK11.
Same sentiments here. Like, and I guess some illusions or trailers and stuff like that will be automatically nice. We already know that. So I personally can't wait till the next MK game. Hopefully they make a lot of enhancements and listen to what actual people sort of complain about with the roster and expand it in a way, because I would like to see like them go in this route of having the new Mortal Kombat characters, but having this mixture of the old, so it makes something completely new, while at the same time it's keeping true to some of the original characters coming back. So I think that a decent cast would be nice, considering they could expand on this.
Alright, I'm back.
And we're talking about question 21. We're closing out and saying that what are you looking forward to when it comes to the next Mortal Kombat game or thing that NetherRealm has planned. And I said MK, the next MK game with Brian, and I said MK Shaolin Monks 2. Please give us that hype.
Oops. Oh, well. If they're going to do a fighting game, I am very interested on how they're going to take off with Dark Raiden being the main villain and Liu Kang and Katana being the rulers of the NetherRealm. Because they already cleared out MK 1 and 3 and 4, I guess. Right, Brian? They already cleared out 4 in the last game?
At this point, yeah.
And they sort of took care of they took out their alliance. They took care of Deception and MKX. They got rid of Armageddon because, well, that was cleared up in the first game.
Mhm.
So, well, was it cleared in the first game or sort
Yeah,
of?
pretty much. Well, I think in a way it was, but this may actually be, if anything, this may put them a little bit closer to whatever actual Armageddon plotline there could be. Because Shinnok's ending hinted at something pretty big about what could possibly happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So they have literally endless possibilities on where it can go. They already cleared the basis of the last games within 2 games, quite literally. So it's kind of hard to predict where they're gonna go with this. We already know Raiden's gonna be main villain, which, by the way, Dark Raiden is best Raiden, the only Raiden in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty interesting, the route that they take with Dark Raiden.
And at least Dark Raiden and MKX makes more sense than in Deception.
How did it happen, Deception? I know he technically died to when he tried to blow up on Naga, but it didn't make sense on how he got corrupted on the way back.
You know what the only thing they said about the story was? Here's what they said should have happened. When Raiden killed himself, he should have reformed in Earthrealm, brand new, no memories, and just start over. But there's a weird thing in like Shang Tsung's bio in the updated version of Deception where it's like him, Raiden, and Quan Chi fought when they were dead, and it's like something about the confluence of events affected Raiden where he came back darker, but they never really explained it.
I think that.
Look that up real quick.
Yeah, and I think that to add on to that, I think that the alternate timeline, it was a better way of explaining it with the Jinsei being corrupted. So
that made sense.
Yeah, that made a little bit more sense. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it definitely made more sense. It was corrupted. He got corrupted. He turned red. Voila. Yeah, I'm gonna look up how he became corrupted in the first series. Just give me a moment.
All right, so we're gonna close out. Mr. Devil Hunter James is asleep, I think. So
Yeah.
we're gonna do his plug. You can find him on Twitter at Dev Hunter James, and you can find me on
Twitch.
You can find him on Twitch at the Hero
The
James.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ren.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You can find me on Twitter at Operative Ren. Wait, that's my old tag. God damn it. You can find me.
Try to rebrand.
I'm trying to rebrand and be, sophisticated and all that. No, I just kidding. But you can find me on Twitter at RenOperative_. And you can find me on Twitch at Renegade_Operative. You can find me on YouTube at Renegade Operative. I'm all over the place. I'm Hollywood, so check me out there. Mr. Arcane Magic 514, could you do your outro, good sir?
Yes. You can find me on Twitter at Arcane Magic 514. #DouchebagKen as my my thing, my main line. So yeah, follow me there, and you will see some pretty interesting stuff. Hashtag not racist.
And
It's all a
Mr.
joke, people.
Yeah, it's a joke. So, Mr. Brian, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter as the Milk Dud Artist, and I do post some thoughts about things that go on in our crazy country and the world, and I do some writing. I'm trying to do good fan fiction, so check that out on fanfiction.net as Twilight Warrior 627. Don't ask. And once again, shout outs to Black Preon for that grudge match tomorrow with main event. Watching us getting hype as somebody gets killed some kind of way.
Someone gets fatality.
No, it's just straight up somebody getting killed. It's probably gonna be me, but I'm gonna do my best. I mean, I got good enough to finally unlock the Revenant Liu Kang costume, which I've been trying for months. And it's like, I can come back on the clutch, but I just have to not spaz.
And to be specific, I guess you can find him at BrianWord1 on Twitter.
That too.
Yeah, that too.
Silver
So,
Angel.
look forward to him getting teabagged tomorrow. We will
God.
see you guys next time, and this was a great discussion. I hope you guys enjoy. This is Renegade Operative signing out. This is the TCP signing out, and hopefully your day is magnificent. Peace out.
Bye. Hashtag bio doubles.
Bye.